Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And I guess I owe some of y'all an explanation because I'm shifting times and doing different things. First of all, I'm on the East Coast of the US right now, so the time zone is different for me. And I wanted to take this time to test to see how we could serve you best and serve my energy best and the speaker's energy best to see what would fluctuate and where their traction would be, and to serve people in other countries who can't tune in until 2 o'clock in the morning, and just to see how that goes, knowing that the replays are available, that if you do want to come on and ask a live question, that you can. It's just at a different time. So we're going to play a little bit to see what sticks, what the response is. And some of y'all are saying, oh my God, we're so used to 5 p.m. Pacific time because that's what we've done for the last 10 years. Yeah. And we're shifting and we're seeing how else we can open and expand. And we're not letting go of anything. We're just allowing things to flow to see what wants to be revealed and the testing things out. So we're here for you. And I'm excited today in this new time that we get to have Teresa V when she's fresh, not at 8 o'clock at night. I'm sure you're appreciating this as well, Teresa. But it's going to be such a beautiful call about, the topic is exploring the nuances of healing. But it's also about what's opening up and where we're going individually. And that translates into the collective. So I want to dedicate this show to each and every one of you individually. That's just my intention for this call, and that you may receive what you're here to receive. May you hear what is meant for you, and that your heart be open to what calls to it. And it's with that I just want to present to you Teresa V. And Teresa, my dear, lovely friend, just, oh my God, welcome to tonight's call.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. It is so cool to be in the same time zone. We've only done that once before.
Yes, I agree. Teresa, as we get into the call, there are new people on the platform that maybe have not known too much about your work, and your work is evolving also. So I'd love it if you give us an update as to how you're helping your clients, how you're helping community, and how that work is evolving as well.
Well, I've been immersed in a bubble of intense study for like the last school year. So some of these questions are still percolating in my mind, and I'm speaking to the universe about this. But basically, my work is to help sensitives, highly spiritual people, and empaths to really tap into the strength within themselves and the purpose that they're here to fulfill, so that they can live more out loud, more on purpose, and just feel more alive and enjoy in their life experience. And I do that in lots of ways. I love bringing in simple ways of looking at our health, where we can take responsibility for ourselves and how we feel just by connecting to the world around us. And so that's just what I love doing. And I just love seeing the miracles that start to happen as people tap into those powerful things right in their own home.
I love that. I love the way you bring it in. And again, for those of y'all who get excited about channeling and angels and cosmic beings and all this,
Oh, yeah.
it's Teresa's your woman.
There's that too. There's those angels.
Well, there's that too. But when Teresa got on the call, and Teresa and I haven't really connected in quite a few months, we've been in our own expansive bubbles. I know, but I've still felt connected to you also, which has been so beautiful. Again, we have that between us. So what I felt from you, Teresa, is, and I said it before we got on the call, I feel this grounding in you. And from that grounding, this ease, it feels oceanic to me. It feels very peaceful and connected to that higher state of vibration also. So I know that's translating into what's happening or what we're experiencing individually as well. So I'd love it if you can explore and expand upon what's coming in from that awareness and how that has to do with the nuances of our healing.
Yeah, it's really interesting because the grounding is the piece that feels really hard for us as a community, and every time I speak to a client about this, they're like, but I spend all this time grounding every day. And it's like, okay, well, yes, maybe you do, but are you truly staying grounded? Are you walking with your feet on the ground, or are you floating with your feet 10 feet above the earth? There's nothing wrong with that, right? But if we're always there, if we're always floating, we're not actually anchoring anything to this planet. We're not anchoring what we're here to do. And a lot of us as sensitives and empaths, we walk this earth responding to what other people want or expect from us, and not what is true for us as individuals. And we see that a lot when we like get into our labels. We like to label things as humans, and it's, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but the important thing for us at this point in time is to really sit into what's true for me. Am I living in a way where I'm expressing the most truth about who I am and what I'm here to do? Am I able to rest with my feet on the ground? Or do I consistently need to just be functioning from up here? And what is it that will help me to feel more safe, to feel more like I can be a participant in my life, as opposed to kind of floating through it? And that's a big thing for us from childhood. A lot of times is, we're not who our parents wanted us to be, who people needed us to be. We kept shifting to fill that role to make it okay for people. And so that's what I see is coming up for us as a community. It's like we're getting rid of that old stuff. We're getting rid of those old stories so that we can fully ground as the light bearers we are here to be, so that we can hold that energy. And Archangel Michael said the other night, it was really interesting. He just like kind of took over, and he was like, okay, you each have a sword of light. And the way you need to respond to the world at this point is to not do what they want you to do with your sword. What you need to do is stick the tip of the sword down into the ground beneath you, and hold your light like you never held it before, and stand firm in that light. Be the pillar, the column of light. And I thought that was so beautiful, just that visual of that's how grounded we're being asked to be right now. So those things all feel really connected for us in terms of our clearing and our healing, in this moment in time. There's always a new thing for us. We think we're done. We're like, oh, good, we're in the new paradigm. It's going to be chill, nope. Here we are.
Here we are. I love that grounding and the sword coming in, and again, expanding our light and the power of that. And again, that channeled message that comes through. It's really quite profound. And when you're talking about the shifting of energies, and again, what we're purging, again, we've talked about this, but I'm discovering personally that the purging is coming in different ways. A lot of dream time,
Big time.
a lot of dream time, unresolved things. It's like the dreams aren't resolving themselves. It's the subconscious just really bringing those things for me to the surface. And it's like, why am I dreaming about my corporate job? Why am I having dreams about my ex-wife? Why are different people from my past coming through my dreams? And it seems to be like this confusion, like the chaos that's happening. And from my understanding, it's okay for us to be in the mess of it as it comes up. And I love your perspective around that, because I know other people, I've had conversations that are going through similar experiences.
Yeah. The mess is where the magic is. Like, that's what it's going to say on my tombstone. Like, the mess is where the magic is, because that's where we are. A lot of times in the mess is where we surrender, because things seem so out of control that we just take our hands off the wheel and we're like, okay, I need you, divine. I need you, higher self. I need you to come in and take over. And that's the beauty of the mess. And what I love about dreams is there's so many different layers to dreams. And I love how we're using our dream time right now to really process through a lot of this stuff. And one of the most amazing things about dreams is that what they do is they help our brain, they help our mind to clear any unfinished thoughts. So if we had an unfinished thought in like 1982, it's going to come up in your dreams sometime for clearing. And chances are there's a ton of other thoughts on top of that, and it needs to be processed through as well. So there's like so many layers of dreams and, how people visit you and all of that. But this is the basic, like our thoughts need to be cleared so our mind can do what it does. And that's so magical. But this mess is where, when you're in that period of feeling like there's so much shifting, there's also, for everything that feels like it's shifting or feels overwhelming, there are that many more potentials for you to tap into, and that's when it serves us to really go inside and ask, what is here for me in this? I'm feeling, right? Giving our feelings names. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling happy. And sit with those feelings and see what's in them for you so that you can grab what's necessary from the experience of having them and then let them wash through you. That's where we've been very resistant. And that's where a lot of our resistance to healing has sort of come up, is not being willing to process the things that we feel we shouldn't be feeling as spiritual people, right? Even though we're spiritual people in human bodies. And that's very important information. The feelings that we have, they're not facts, but they are giving us something very real to take from an experience.
Is there something that you can share with the audience that perhaps can help us to process what's coming through? Like, are there exercises? Is there a transmission that you work with, or a mantra that helps to, whatever it is, to help facilitate the loosening and really the wave of those things integrating in a way that hadn't before?
Oh man, there's so much. So honestly, it's what works for you as an individual, but you always need a place to start.
Right.
And ultimately, where the magic is for us is in our breath. It's the tool that we are born with, we come into this world with, and it's the last thing we will have before we leave. It's the thing that we can use to regain our footing at any moment in time. And the beauty of the breath is that there's a pause, just a split second between the in-breath and the out-breath, between the out-breath and the in-breath. And in that pause is everything we need to know. It's everything we need to know about ourselves and the universe. And if we can learn to be in that pause between two breaths, to be in that pause between two thoughts, and to let that pause kind of encapsulate us and expand us, then that's when we will have access more and more to what's true for us and what we need to process through. And so our tendency to run away from things that are uncomfortable, when what we can do, that's what it is, right? But what we can do is kind of sit and just be with it and do the breath and say, okay, anger, I'm going to sit here with you and I'm going to breathe with you. Okay, show me what I need to know, right? And then to get it out of your body, you might need to still take a kickboxing class or go for a run or do whatever it is for you. But at the moment, really getting the message from it. And the breath is the one thing that you can use no matter where you are.
Beautiful. I love that. This period, again, you're so amazing at the way that you connect with the angels and other spirits and messages that are coming in. And it's been this very fluid thing for you. And you have a certain authority that you carry that's uniquely Teresa V as you speak this. And it's been beautiful. What has shifted, or what has helped you to ground in such high vibration energy into, again, your embodied presence and being able to be here rather than constantly be out there looking or listening for that guidance?
That's a really good question. And make no mistake, I'm always out there asking, but there's a thing that we do that I've noticed, we're very often, we mentioned before, like taking responsibility for our own healing as opposed to like going outside of us. So the tendency for a lot of us in a community like this is to be like, oh, he broke up with me. Let me call Wendy the psychic and see what she says about that. Or, I need to have an energy session to deal with this headache that I'm having. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good. But when we always do that, we're relying on something outside of us. all the time, that's when we kind of fall into that pattern of giving up our own power. And so for me, what happened was I needed to start taking responsibility for my own healing, because all of the powers that be outside of me had no idea what was going on. Right?
Mm.
No one could give me any answers. And I was like, I can't live like this. Let's figure this out. And that's when I started calling all of these people in. And then they taught me how to look at my body differently, to look at my relationship with the world differently so that I could start to change the way I showed up. And that's really, in my opinion, what shifted everything for me, is because I physically had the experience of needing to stop going outside of myself for answers. And I needed to start going within and feeding myself that orange and saying, okay, what is this doing for my body? Is it helping? Is it hurting? Oh my gosh, look at my face. It's giving me a rash. Like all of those things really needed to sit in. And I think that's what started to open it for me. And then wanting to be of service in any way that universe needed me, and just wanting to let the love of the divine flow through me, that really requires some grounding. So when I had a teacher who always said, if you want to teach meditation, you have to be in meditation. But in order to be in meditation, you need to be grounded, and I always took that lesson with me, because if I am going to bring this energy through, I can't be floating, because it's not going to work. I need to be fully anchored. And that's when the energy could expand more and more.
Mm. With the grounding that's taken place and the energy within you, again, it can be so, we get so used to going out when we look for answers, when we want that assistance, when it's like we know there's something more, but we can't quite reach it.
Mm-hmm.
And our nervous system becomes used to that hit, that support. How is it that you're helping people come back and to rewire their nervous system? Because that's a huge component of what's happening right now, that our nervous system, we're figuring out that their nervous system's really been fried, that we've been running from the parasympathetic.
Yeah. Yeah. So first, I just want to say there's nothing wrong with asking for support and asking for help when we need it, right? That's totally a beautiful thing. And it's one of the things we need as human beings. But when we bypass ourselves in the interest of giving our power away to somebody else constantly and consistently, as opposed to using that person as a resource for us to go deeper within ourselves, that's when things get a little bit twisted for us, because we become lazy and used to other people doing it for us. But what you're asking about is, like, we've just been running on empty for so long. We've been like giving so much of ourselves and giving and giving and giving in the name of service, in the name of holding the light and all of those things. And the angels have said to us in this new paradigm, we're not going to be allowed to do that anymore, right? Depleted light workers are not going to be allowed to serve in the same way. You need to serve yourself first, because you're now leading by example. So you need to be replenished. You need to be restored. And a lot of us are still going back. We're trying to go back to that other way of being, where we can give and give till we're like at negative 50% of our own energy. So that's one of the first things, is just to realize that. And it's important for us to make time every day to just let ourselves be with ourselves. And these are muscles that we need to build, because it can be very scary for a lot of people. Like, I know when I started meditating, it was terrifying, because I had no idea what was going to come out from inside of me. And so I did like 1 minute at first, and I just sat with myself for 1 minute. And some days I could only get 1 second of that 1 minute, still to this day, sometimes I can only get 1 second. But opening that door to the communication with ourselves starts the rewiring of the nervous system. It starts to give if we do it the same time every day, it gives our body the knowledge that, okay, I can relax for this minute, or this 2 minutes, or this 5 minutes. Like, I can let go. And then that starts to shift our relationship. And, sometimes I wish I had a bigger, more grand answer to these things. Like, we want to talk about like codes and all the things, but what it comes down to is really using the world around us, using what's available to us in every moment to give ourselves the most energy we can, to give ourselves the advantage so that we have more energy to share with the world. And it's the simple things that give us that. And then we can go and do the bigger, more grand things.
And I love that you mentioned codes and all that. And there's credibility in that. There is that. And it's okay, we've been given this computer or this device that we need to learn how to use. And so
Absolutely.
we can't use the full capacity of it if we don't know that Control F does a certain thing. And so we have to go through the intimacy of learning this new wiring. And is through the experiential, through the living, the breathing, instead of thinking that we're going to learn this whole encyclopedia of this rewiring all at once, because that's not how it comes necessarily.
And the codes ride on the breath. That's how they come in. They ride on prana. They ride on that energy that we allow then to come and take root in our bodies. Like that's what happens. Like if your nervous system is so tight, like you're talking about, like if you're like this, there's no place for any of that to go when it comes in. But if you can relax, then your cells can breathe and they can incorporate this new energy as opposed to it just ping-ponging around your body, which is what a lot of us are experiencing right now, right? Because we haven't fully figured out how to be now. Like, how do we be in a heart-centered paradigm, especially when all this is going on outside of us that doesn't seem very heart-centered?
I love the analogy of the computer also, because as we talk about the nervous system and being kind of wound up and tight about it, I know when I'm looking for something and I'm really tight about it or something and doing a Google search, it's like trying to find, okay, I'm kind of guided and I listen and I'm pretty good about it. But when I'm relaxed and kind of looking for something and playing around with it, it's like the synchronicities, the serendipity just kind of seems to flow, and the knowing of where to direct my energy and where to focus and what feels expansive somehow lands in what's facilitating the curiosity or the impetus of whatever the search was.
Yeah, it's so funny because this part of my story came up for me like this week. I was remembering, years ago when I was closed off to my gifts, I was closed so tightly because there was no place for them to live in my life. They started to demand to get reopened. And one of the things that would happen is every day when I would start to get frustrated at work, like I was at a desk job and I would start to feel tired, but I would push my body through that tiredness because it was only 2:30 or 3:00. Instead of getting up and taking a walk or going to get some water, I would push through. My computer would go, whoop, just shut down. Every day at the same time. We took that computer into the shop 13 different times and there was nothing wrong with it. It was my energy that was affecting the functioning. And we do that so often with our health, is where our body is telling us exactly what it needs. And we override it constantly because it doesn't fit with what we think it should be needing. And that's when we run into trouble. And if we're not listening to our own intuition here, how can we hear the messages from outside of us? How can we hear the messages from our higher self, our angels, if we're not listening to the basic fabric of who we are?
Yeah, I love that you bring that in. And again, that's what you teach. I mean, that's really what you invoke. There could be situational things, but it's all to that connecting. And really, for me, it's that I am in the connection within me. So it's pretty profound. Talking about the nervous system and the environment, and we were talking about the message from Archangel Michael that you received a few days ago, again, before we got on the call.
Yeah.
We have to remember, and y'all have heard this, but it's good to be reminded over and over, because we are going through a nervous system reset. We're going through a full rewiring. We're experiencing the world through a different version of who we ever have been before. And in that, there is a reorganization again of how we perceive and how we've been entrained. So through the media, we've been entrained to respond quickly, to make judgments, to read things quickly, to interpret, analyze, and take action according to something right away. And the anchoring in, Teresa, the slowing down, the breathing in, even the tuning into what our definition of media is as good or bad, and the judgment of that, is all up for reinterpretation. And I would so appreciate it if you can share what the angels are saying about this and your personal experience in it also.
I think the word of the new paradigm is truth.
Mhm.
And regardless of media or what people are putting out or whatever it is, it has to feel true to you and feel true from your heart space, not from your head space. So there are a couple of things where everything is being designed. Like people make a lot of money every time we click on something, every time we read something. They know how quickly our eyes scan things on social media. And the quicker they can get us to stop and take a pause, then they get more money. So like there's a lot of science behind what's happening now. And headlines are designed to make us feel a certain way. How many times does somebody like quote something to you and it's like, well, what else did the article say? And they don't know because they just read the headline, and that's what people are taking as truth. Meanwhile, the article has nothing to do with the headline if you actually read it. So there's truth versus everything else. And so if it rings true to you, then do more research. Like that's kind of one of the things. Do more research within and do more research without, so that you're not letting something outside of you color your version of the world, so that you can then tap into what is the actual situation here. Like, is there a problem? Is it not a problem? And what is the world
Is it
I
my
want to see?
problem, right? Is it my problem?
Well, what is the world I want to see, and how can we bridge those two things? And is it my responsibility solely, and how can I be part of the solution? It's that kind of thing. It's important for us to realize also that the earth is rewiring at the same time we are. Like so every human being inhabiting this planet is experiencing that rewiring of the planet Earth, her need for survival, as well as the spiritual rewiring, and is moving into a place of incredible fear. And when we can understand that it's fear, then we can have more compassion for what we're seeing in terms of behavior, in terms of like all of the things that are being thrown around by other human beings. And that's not compassion in a way of judgment, like, oh, you poor thing, you're in so much fear. It's, oh, I get it. I remember when I was there. How can I start paving a way for them to know that it's okay?
Mm. That's wonderful. So I know, and we'll get into a special offer in a little bit, but you really have been guided to bring on this series about healing into the new. What does that mean? How does
So
that
it's real.
transition? Yeah.
When we talk about healing into the new you, it's like, how do we go from this formerly carbon-based form of ourselves to the more crystalline version of ourselves with a smoother transition? How can we do that? And how can we recognize the ways that we relate to the earth and the world around us, and use those to our advantage, so that we start each day as energized as possible and can give the most to ourselves, to our families, to our loved ones, to the world, instead of being overly tired, overly taxed by our environment. So it's really about how can we show up as we're being called from the divine, from our angels, to be more well-sourced, so that we can lead the world from that place of, hey, guess what? If you take care of you, everything else gets taken care of too.
Mm. Yeah, I love this. And April, you see that in the item, it's healing into the new your life. It's the new you. So we'll correct that.
Okay.
And we'll get into the special offer in a little bit. But what you talk about on here also, Teresa, is also so important for me and from my perspective, is that you're not just going into the overt fears, it's the subtle fears. And we're being bombarded with this, and I think divinely on purpose.
Oh, totally.
But it's really the subtle fear that we're becoming more aware of instead of the panic fear, even though that may come up from time to time. What do you
Yes.
see shifting there, and how's that coming to pass?
It's amazing to me because the subtle fear is generational fear, right? It's a lot of times generational fear, and the fear that we experienced in our bloodline. And it's important for us to remember, in the United States, especially, like there are other places too, but we're founded by rebels, right? Like that is the energy. That's the archetype. Part of the archetype of this country is the rebel archetype. So what did you think was going to happen now? Like this is part of who we are. It's the fabric of who we are. And so it's like, okay, how is that expressing right now? How can I understand that? And how can I use that energy to serve instead of to serve fear? And it's really about opening ourselves to what are these things and how can I recognize them in my life? How can I recognize like when my buttons are being pushed by something outside of me? How can I find it within myself? What's out of balance within me? And how can I come to a place of rebalancing that? And, one of the beautiful ways that we can start to look at this is like all the elements in our bodies. What's out of balance? What's my particular balance? What's the universal balance? And how can we rectify that? And so it's like so many layers that we're looking to kind of fix. If my ancestors are very fiery and that's what they left me, and I'm very watery, all of a sudden I find myself being fiery. It feels very uncomfortable. So like, what's in this for me? How can I serve that fire in a way of relaxing it?
What you bring in also, and it's super fun because you bring in not only the awareness of what's coming up and through, but also the evident power we have within. So one thing that you talk about is our sensitive superpowers and how we can recognize them and really use them as an advantage.
Yeah. I mean, so many of us have had these experiences in our lives where our sensitivities have overwhelmed us or have not been welcomed, or we've been told that we don't fit the mold, we're too sensitive, oh, why are you crying? Yeah. Like either that or we go the opposite. Like we try to be so opposite of who we are. We become like really hard, really tough, because we think that will serve us better if everything can just like, we can plow through it. And so it's really about, wow, okay, my sensitivity isn't a detriment. It's actually, I was created perfectly suited to the work that I'm here to do, right? I was created perfectly suited. So how can I embrace this part of myself? And how can I start to change my perspective of seeing this as a detriment, of something that drains my energy, to how could this be of service to me and to the world? How can I use this? Like, where has this benefited me in the past? And being in a community like this of people who have sensitive superpowers, even if we're not acknowledging them or embracing them yet, that alone starts to shift the energy, right? That feeling of, oh my gosh, I get it. I feel you, and I can feel you in your entirety, because I've never been able to show up anywhere in my entirety before. I was too much, and that's what starts to shift it. And as we shift the little things, like we play with them, we build muscles, then we start to shift in bigger and bigger ways.
Beautiful. Y'all, we're going to get into Q&A in a little bit. And there's hardly, again, with the new time, there's an opportunity for y'all to raise your hand and ask questions and most likely get picked. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of this time here with Teresa, and the replay is going to be a different story. But I'm excited about what's coming through. And before we get into the special offer, Teresa, and again, the live calls that you're presenting there, and then all these other wonderful opportunities to work with you, you do talk about a magical place that we get to go that really gets us in tune with what's available. And I'd love you to just illuminate that before we start taking live calls and get into the special offer.
So the magical place that we get to go, first of all, there's so many magical places available to us. We know we've all been to them, but the magical place where everything is always okay, where every potential exists, where every aspect of us can rest and be fine, is this present moment, right? Mm-hmm. If we bring all of our awareness into this moment and this moment only, none of the grief we're feeling, none of the anger, like none of that actually exists here, because everything is okay if we're fully grounded here. There's no past, there's no future. We're just here now. And so if we can even bring ourselves back to that space for like 1 second, 2 seconds, like whatever it is, eventually the goal is, right? The goal of this lifetime is to be there all the time. That's enlightenment, to be in the present moment every time, every moment of every day. But for now, that's the magic. That's where everything exists that we need, and all the information. That's when our guidance can get to us because there is no resistance.
Well, I'm finding that present moments as I'm breathing more into it, and like it's like, oh, hold on a second. I'm finding that that's resetting my nervous system, my anxious tendencies, my future projection, the anxiety of the past. It's like it's all just it's settling into a flow that is brand new, that I don't recognize myself. It's like, wait, there's something different about me. And in that being something different about me, there's something different in the way that I'm relating to others, which is
100%.
it's life-changing. It is absolutely life-changing.
Totally. I just want to say quickly, like our teachers come in like all forms. And one of my greatest teachers was my friend Mary, way back when she was in her 70s. And like I was having some sort of panic attack. And she was like, chill out, get your head to where your feet are. Right. And then I like just looked down at my feet. I brought myself to the moment and everything went okay. Like I was fine. And that was one of the most powerful teachings for me in my life is get your head in the space where your feet are. And that's it.
I love that. I have a mantra that might help you all with that also. And it's really simple. It's I'm here now. Whenever you lose yourself, and even tapping your fingers to bring yourself back in your
Mhm.
body. First left, then right, or first right, then left, whichever, and just going back and forth. And just I am here now. Try it now. I am here now. It just brings you in. It brings your body in. You're aware of your physicality and you breathe easier. Your shoulders relax, and you can probably feel your presence more deeply than you did a second before that. So I wanted to share that as one of the tools that I use that's helped me tremendously. I want to get into a special offer, but I want to take a caller first before we do that, and then
Sure.
we'll come to more callers. And Donna, I'm guided to call on you first. Welcome to the call. If you can please unmute. And Carolyn and Christine, we're going to get to you also. So yeah, I'll hang tight.
Thank you, John. I just loved what you said about Archangel Michael coming in and putting his sword in the ground, and that was so powerful. And is that a tool that you use all the time, or?
It's really interesting because this is something Michael recently came in and said, and I think it's really powerful for us as the spiritual community to kind of think of that visual. And Archangel Michael also says he's saying now, it's not just about you digging your sword into the ground. Let me stand behind you. Let me wrap you in my wings as you do so, because I can be the power that you feel like you lack in that moment. And I can show you where to access that within you, how to embrace that in yourself as I embrace you. So Michael has our backs at every moment in time, because sometimes as sensitives, when there's so much harshness in the world around us, it can feel like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stand firm, but I don't know how long I can do that for, right? Because so when Michael comes and he stands with us, it's a whole different experience, and he can start to really help us to build our stamina and do that more and more. So that has never before now been presented in this way, at least through me. This is the first time I have heard Michael say this, like dig in, hold your ground, and the big idea is they want you to use your swords for something else. Do not respond that way. Use them to hold your light.
Oh, I got the chills.
Oh yeah, that was
Me
beautiful.
too.
Yeah. Donna, thank you so much for asking and
Oh,
for
thank
inviting
you.
me to this, man. It's so powerful. What this is also reminding me of, Donna, again, thank you for bringing this up, and Teresa, I've been receiving also to remember, because we forget, we get into our containers, we go into our dreams, we get into our reality, but to remember that we're not doing this alone. So we talk about Archangel Michael with the sword and his support behind us. Y'all, we have so much support, so much love, so much wisdom, so much courage, so much enthusiasm, and cheering us on because they already know. But I wanted to bring that in as a reminder. You're not you. And again, I dedicated the show to the individual, to each and every one of you individually. So I'm speaking to you. You're not doing this alone. I promise you.
And Archangel Ariel, while you're talking, John was saying, we're not just behind you, we're on the sides of you, we're in front of you, we're all around you. You are like, you're always supported. Just call on us. Let us know exactly what you need so that we can serve you in the best possible way.
All right, we're going to get into more Q&A. So y'all hang out for that. And also click on the special offer link because the opportunity to work with Teresa during these live calls and in this way is just, it's epic. And again, with Teresa's gone, it's just, Teresa's always been freaking amazing. And this groundedness and expansion, again, I felt it the second we got on the call, and for y'all to get to be in a resonant field with what Teresa is holding and sharing with so much love and grace. I'm excited for anybody who chooses to participate in the special offer. So the link is in the chat box. Just click on the blue lit up link that you'll see there, or open up a new browser if that's easier for you, and just type in beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Teresa28, and it'll take you to the same special offer page. And Teresa, guide us through what you've put together for our BT. Okay. And by the way, I have to say this because I haven't been saying this in the past, and I just took it. It's such great value. Of course, you guys are going to sign up, but these special offers on BTO, they really, not only special offers because of the teachers and how they're willing to put this out to the community, financially speaking, from just that linear perspective, this is over a $900 package that you're getting for $97. I mean, we provide value, we provide quality and quantity if you talk it from that perspective. So if you're called to this, and if there's a hesitation about, just know what you're receiving from that aspect as well. If that helps you in your mind, say yes into what's available, because these truly are special offers. And Teresa, if you would guide us through this, through your special offer.
Sure. I always am humbled by the way that these offers like get put together, because it seems exactly right for whenever we do the show. So I'm always really excited. So the first part of the package is the Prepare and Anchor Change meditation package. And it's 3 separate guided meditations that will prepare you for the next pieces of what you're here to do in this world. And, one of them is deep cellular healing. And then there's global healing with Archangel Raphael. And then there's the empty bowl meditation, which will help you get to that space we were talking about between the breaths. So, so that's amazing. And then we have the Healing into the New You 3-part series, which is just amazing. And really, this is for us to heal into ourselves personally and collectively, to recognize the really subtle ways we're out of balance and start to see the ways we can use the world around us to rebalance ourselves. So that's the first part of each of the 3 calls. And then the second part is we'll hang up the call and there will be energy healing and there will be transmissions coming through for the remainder of the hour. So these are both informational and energy workshops. So, and we've run something like this recently and people had amazing results. So I'm really excited to be able to offer this. And we'll be focusing, just so you know, on stress and anxiety in the first session, anger and judgment in the second one, and sadness and depression, and how do we alleviate those things for ourselves and for the collective. And then one of the things that we forget is that we can start our day over at any time. We can start our vision over at any time, our life over at any time. And so what I've included here is the Visioning Your Year vision board workshop. And just because it's the middle of the year.
When you said that, actually.
I'm sorry?
I got the chills when you talked about it. Is there something about revisioning? And I love this. Sorry to interrupt. I had to emphasize.
Thank you. Because even though it's the middle of the year, the vision we had for the beginning of the year probably isn't the same because the energy is very, very different. So how can we kind of explore who we are now after having all these other things? Like, who are we now? And how can we shift our vision to bring out more of our strengths in this current situation and change our world accordingly, both personal world and collective world. And so I'll walk you through, this is a pre-recorded series, and I'll walk you through every part of creating your vision board. And then you can end that part of the recording, go do that part of the work, come back. And it's really amazing. It's a very, very fun workshop, and you'll create something absolutely incredible. I promise you that.
I'm doing this. I'm doing feel how powerful it is. The intent. No, really. I mean, we laugh and it's going to be fun. I'm going to play with it,
Yeah.
but I can feel the power. And also by sitting in the space of just playing and the intentionality of creating a vision board, I can feel something that perhaps I haven't thought about, something that's emanating, that's right there on the cusp, revealing itself, that just hasn't whispered to my essence yet. And I'm so excited about this.
It's so true. And a lot of times, like, just the process of creativity opens up something in us that we've overlooked because we don't dare to be in that creative space often. So, or at least in the same way. So it's a lot of fun, and it's also enlightening. Like, this workshop is definitely enlightening.
That's awesome. And y'all read the whole special offer if you want. I say just sign up and read it afterwards, but whatever. But that's my preference. But in this, you'll release energy blockages around finance, abundance, and manifestation by tapping into your creativity. And how many of y'all are like, I don't know what's next, and the future is not presenting itself, and I'm kind of like in this in-between place, and I know it's going to reveal itself, but I don't know when, but it's coming. It's coming. And I really feel, again, that's why I got the chills about this. Something wants to express itself through that creativity. This is awesome. Just for the vision board workshop alone, I would sign up for this. Well, I am. I may or may not join you all in the live class because I've got a lot of things going on, but I'm definitely going to listen. But this is going to be amazing. Y'all, this is $97. It's got a value of over $997. And that is not an exaggeration. That's just what it is. Because I don't like getting into inflated perceived cost, blah, 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 blah. It's integrity and authenticity is so important on this platform for me. So
I totally did the math. I am in integrity like that. I
know you are. That's
that.
why I was like, and so I am again emphasizing to provide value and again what's possible for you guys. It's offered here for $97, y'all. There's a 2-payment option and a 30-day money back guarantee. Everything to say yes to if you so choose to. And I'm speaking to your heart, to your higher self, to your little self, and to the one of you that is excited that if for any reason is saying, I don't know, that 30-day money back guarantee is just the icing on the cake. So again, click on the buy now button. You'll start receiving the downloads for the meditations. You'll get the pre-recorded workshop, and the live calls will begin on August 2nd. So you're taking people through the Lionsgate portal also, which is amazing.
Yeah. When the timing came through for this, I was like, really? Okay, we're gonna do this. So this is going to be real, like, honestly, it's going to be very transformational, and I am just beyond thrilled to be able to offer it, and to be able to offer it to this community, because I know this is the community of people who are the leaders for the new paradigm. Whether you know it or not, guess what?
You raised your hand without knowing you raised your hand. But you know, oh, so amazing. All right, y'all. The link again is in the chat box. Click on that or go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Teresa28. Take you to that same page. All right, T, can we open up some more Q&A?
Sure.
Let's do it. Carolyn, let's get you to unmute, please.
Right. Thank you. Oh, goodness.
I love your glasses and your t-shirt. Oh my God, you're so cool.
Lady Gaga. Just saying her name during that time in her life when she was creating herself. It's kind of emblematic of where I'm at right now, and I'm sure all of us are. Yeah, I've been noted in my life to have great enthusiasm, and I know that's a God divine gift in to have. And I've been laughed at for it. I've been ostracized. I've been applauded, of course, at some points. But I just no buts. I hate that word because here we are today supporting each other and giving and asking for help. I've just been feeling very defeated and unenthusiastic, and I want to engage that again. I have a job as a server in a high-end restaurant, very stressful at times, and I walk in and I plunge my, I don't know if I've been plunging Archangel Michael's sword, but every morning I wake up and I appeal to my I am presence. I call it in. I ground to Mother Earth's core, and then I connect, to the divine and just pull it in. And so I've got my body ready to go. And then I've got my tools, all the wonderful supportive tools. Thank you, John, for all the people you bring on, and I've been using them. I have been having trouble with applying those tools, having the vim and verve to go into the day, and I definitely use the breath. But I just is there any?
Yeah, what's your question?
Yeah, my question is what can I do to get myself my verb back besides
Right.
your beautiful program, which I love, and I'm definitely going to be jumping in there.
Thank you for this question, because you're not alone. So that's the first thing I want to say is you're so not alone in this, even though you may feel really alone. And I want to acknowledge that too, because when you're not feeling that aspect of yourself that's been so prevalent, you can feel like you've lost yourself. So what I'm seeing Archangel Ariel with you, first of all, she is the Archangel of love, of fierce love. And I see her very much present in your life, and that she's been with you through most of your life. And what she's showing me and what I see in your field is that a lot of it's become work for you, and you've lost your joy. It's like, I have to do all this work just to function. And like, there's not that same level of joy, if any. It feels like joy is at a minimum. So even being a server, I feel in the past, it was like, hi, how are you? And like the connection was what like kept you in this position. And now it's just like, it's not the same. And it's not just on your part, people aren't the same. Like there's like a wall kind of thing. And it's just really, as much as you're doing everything to ground, I feel Archangel Ariel say, get back into your heart. Get back into your heart. Your heart is so beautiful. And it just feels like it just needs some loving attention. It just needs you to spend some time there, and maybe even some time in your creativity. You have a tremendous creative energy. And it just feels like you haven't really been nourishing that. Is that, yeah.
Yep, that's completely right. And I almost can't find how, and it's crazy because I should know how to do it. And I use my heart all the time.
Yeah. So two things are coming forward, I see, for you. She's showing me the first is a technique where you just tap your whole body. Bring the awareness, like John was saying, I am here. You're tapping your whole body to get yourself back into all the parts of your body. And you're like, can I feel myself tapping my toe? Yes, no. Okay, I'm not there. You're bringing yourself back in. And then I see you with big, messy hands and a big piece of paper, just finger painting.
Nice.
So I don't know if any of that resonates for you, but it feels like a great way to reclaim your enthusiasm and, just make a mess. For the love of God, make a mess.
I love that. Oh my God. That's so awesome, Carolyn. That's so on point. I feel you like expanding. Can I share a couple of things? And just my visions. And Teresa, I'd love for you to fill in the blanks. So when you said you were putting in the sword, I saw you putting in a plunger.
Oh my God, me too. I just didn't say it.
That's
She was
so
literally
funny.
putting in a
It was
plunger.
It's like you're trying to get rid of the crap. Isn't that funny? I had to share that.
So in the ground or me? I'm feeling it. Right,
you're trying to like flush the crap, and it's just that you keep flushing crap and not putting the sword in the ground. That's what I get.
Wow.
I saw the same thing. How funny is that?
And I'm the super of my building, so that makes perfect sense. I might even need a snake, but I like the plunger idea.
Yeah, Teresa, you're going to say something.
Was there a plumber in your family?
Nope.
Hmm.
Not
Are you
that I know
sure?
of. What?
I've
Oh, I get the
three
chills.
generations back, maybe that may be something just to look at.
Oh, all right. And if there was, should I ask my plumber ancestor for support?
It just feels like that might be part of what's coming up. We just talked about earlier, like the ancestral stuff coming up for healing, and there may be some connection there.
Yeah, so at work, instead of trying to plunge the stuff away, put that sort of light in. So Teresa's tool is perfect for you. And one last thing, and it'll be really quick because I want to take another caller. When you said you hate the word but, anywhere where you get a strong resistance and energy and where you're diminishing your light because you think you're wrong or somebody else is wrong, bring yourself back to you. Bring yourself back to that sort of light and anchor yourself into the creativity of you rather than in the judgment of what's right and what's wrong. It's your creativity. Your creativity doesn't have a right or wrong. It just is, as are you. And how beautiful is that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you for allowing me to share. Yeah, so much love. All right, let's continue. Christine, let's get you to unmute. Welcome. I love that we both got the plunger. That's just awesome.
Oh my gosh.
This
that
is so
was
funny.
Christine, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, I just really enjoy what both of you bring in your beautiful witnesses. And like sometimes just hearing you speak, it gives you that place inside where, yeah, it's just a great witness to what's happening. And I do feel what you're saying, that there's so much more newness coming in. And I've been embodying quite a bit of it. But right now there's something that my body's trying to show me where I'm starting to retain fluid. And I know that it's like kidney and lymph. And the reason that I'm bringing it to as a question is I think sometimes what happens with one person, sometimes there's other people too, where like mentally and spiritually, I feel like but there's something that my body is having a hard time keeping up with. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just tuning in. The lymphatic system and that system of our body is also connected to faith.
Okay.
So there are several things happening. So what I'm seeing for you personally is to just it's interesting because I feel like you're so connected. You have such great faith in terms of the divine, but I feel like maybe where this is faltering is your faith in humanity. Does that make sense? So it also has to do with in the hotter months, it has to do with us retaining fluid and things like that. But where they're showing me is it's so interesting. I feel the faith connection. So I'm just gonna like turn for a second because I also feel the fairies around you like tremendously.
Oh, funny. Because like, and even like what you guys were talking, like it really is us being empowered enough to know what to ask for, because
Right.
we do have so much help. Like we are not alone. And I know that I've had so much help and so much divine grace. And I think it's almost like that little kid where you're that second guesser, where you don't feel like you're worthy enough to ask for more. But I also don't want to ask for more if my body's having a hard time catching up, because there's almost like different layers of us.
Yeah. So what I am seeing, so are you okay if I just, because part of what I do, what I'm trained in is facial diagnosis. So just like what I'm seeing on your face right now is you may just want to support your kidneys a little bit in this process.
And I've been doing it for about a year. Like I'm doing the kidney supplements. I'm doing the adrenals. I really do try to do it balanced. So if
There's something
me,
Teresa's bringing in that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
I'm feeling that. I'm feeling you taking really good care of yourself, but I almost feel like there's an aspect of you internally that's resonating with the external energy in the world and the stress of the world. The other thing I'm feeling is like bringing the breath to your kidneys, like to the kidney area and the adrenals, letting it circulate and then exhaling from that space. Even if you only do that 5 times, first thing in the morning before you eat, it feels like the nourishment, there's a big nourishment, internal nourishment that's being asked for here, like to nourish you the way you nourish the world. And just maybe some subtle shifts in that. And I just feel you got such a bright light. You have all these sprightly fairies around you. You're just so connected. It's just really about turning some of that inside even more on a new level, at a deeper level than you have before. Yeah, this is one of the things, like, these are the physical things that I'm going into. You asked before, these are the things I'm now going into deeply with my clients, because they're our physical
And
bodies.
I also think that it's funny because I know that I've always had like angelic help, but I think it's funny that you're mentioning fairies, and I'm not sure, like I'm really drawn to nature and flowers, but I don't know if I've actually felt the fairy energy or if I'm actually scared of them because they're,
Yeah.
it's almost like boy energy, like they're like it's like funny comedic, but like teasing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Let's get Teresa to jump into
Okay.
that.
Yes.
I'm going to
Yeah,
expand. a bit on
I
the
get that. And it's so interesting because you have such a sprightly fairy energy aspect to yourself as well, that it feels like maybe there's a piece of yourself you've not been looking at and not been acknowledging. And this fairy energy might be connected to that. And so what is it about your sprightly, fun-loving fairy energy? By the way, fairies are absolutely fierce about taking care of the planet. And if you're not taking care of the planet, they want nothing to do with you. So there's also that aspect of fairies. So just maybe like feel into if there's any resonance of any aspect of you that you haven't been acknowledging, because it feels like there's something new inside of you that wants to be birthed, like we've been talking about. But definitely try the breathing, because I feel like that will bring you through a lot of this other stuff.
Teresa, what do the kidneys represent emotionally?
The kidneys hold a lot of our fear, and the adrenals hold a lot of our stress.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be just our fear. We can be resonating like tuning forks with the fear of the collective as well.
Right. And from my understanding in supplementation and working with lots of different, just amazing doctors, it's also understanding that we could be supporting it. But if we're taking things for support and they're not supplemented for the absorption to take place, then it's not really being supported. So to look into a health practitioner, someone who can review how you're supporting your kidneys and your adrenals and make sure that the absorption is there, that it's compounded with the right chemicals so that you get maximum benefit, would be great. Because a lot of times we think that we're supporting it and it's only 20% support when we could be receiving 80 to 100%. So something to look into. And Christine, thank you so much for calling in. It's been wonderful having you. Yes. So S. Lundstrom, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly, as you wrote into the chat, writes, I do not have a camera, so I can't come on live, but I feel like I'm finally getting my life force back after Dark Night of the Soul. Do the angels have anything to say about that? And thank you, John and Teresa. Many blessings to you. You're muted, Teresa. Yeah.
The angels are like, yes, you are. And, and it's so funny. So in case you don't know me, the angels always work with me through humor because they are in joy and that's my language. So like, they're like, yes, you're doing it, but I also feel your reluctance to call on them and to let them know what's true for you. So in those moments where you feel less than stellar, or you're feeling like you shouldn't be feeling what you're feeling, let them know. Be honest with them about what it is so that they can get you the right support right away, instead of kind of guessing what you need because you're not asking for it. So that feels important. There felt like another aspect of that. So just give me a second. Yeah, it feels like this was a big shift for you. So they're also wanting to congratulate you for the work you did to make it through this big shift. And they're wanting us as fellow humans to congratulate you also, because we've all been through a dark night of the soul at least once. And they want us to just share in your joy and your revelation that you're on the other side of it and you're taking your steps out of it.
How can we release some of the the imprints of trauma of how we've identified what the dark night of the soul is, because it's like, oh my God, the dark night of the soul. And there's like this, absolutely, it's really an earned experience. It's an embodied transition. But sometimes, again, in the subtle fear, there's like, I don't want to go through it again, or it's like, I went through it, thank goodness it's over and all that. And but there's also an embrace of the authority and power of that wisdom. And for me, a reframe or an adding to would be wonderful.
Yeah, it's, you know, working through any trauma in our body is kind of similar. And it's the willingness to not be attached to what we went through, you know, and that's the beginning of the healing, not to invalidate it for ourselves because we did actually go through it, but to let it flow through like water. Okay, I went through this. It's kind of like when you get in a car accident, do you get back in the car or do you never drive again? You know, and if you're driving again, how long does it take you to like not grip the wheel very tightly? And it's just about every day being grateful for that day, the day that you're in, that you are in this energy where you are now, and not comparing it to what was before, but just really being in that day and knowing that we never go through the same experience twice, right? We never do. Our soul grows. So even if we need to go through another dark night of the soul, you know, let's not label it. Let's not label it. And let's just be present with what is at that moment in time and trust, hey, we got through it. We're not going to go through the same thing and we're going to have the support we need. But also move your body. Moving our bodies really helps us release trauma and do it with intention. Like, I intend to let this trauma flow through me and be released.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. I love that. All right, let's continue. I love that we're doing so much Q&A. Julie, I'll read yours in a second. I have to go to it first, but Patsy, let's go to you first. If you can unmute, please. Ah, I love it. Hi. Did you find your unmute button, Patsy?
Got it.
There you are. Hi.
There you are.
Okay. So I just happened to pop in today. I just happened to, and you're talking about the breathing. That is like my biggest lesson right now. Biggest lesson is it's my transformation. Ever since my guy died 2 years ago, just in March, led me into this whole realm. And so I never even really got into angels or anything like that. But if you have anything just to share with me, that'd be awesome. And thank you. I love your simplicity, your truth. You know, it's not like, you know, your story of anxiety. I appreciate you.
Oh, Teresa's a warrior. Are you kidding me? She's awesome.
Thank you, Patsy. I feel so blessed that you did pop in. What feels really important, first of all, it feels like you have so much, like you have a whole team with you. That's the first thing. The second thing I feel is there's, okay, this is a human experience. So I'm not singling you out in this. This is a general human experience. When we go through something that leaves us in a lot of grief, sometimes we hold on to that grief as a way of honoring the people that we're missing. And when we breathe, the lungs are where we hold our grief. And when we breathe, it starts to free up some of that energy of sadness. And there are two things. Either we don't want to move through it or we don't want to let it go. Because if we let it go, then we let them go, right? But your guy's like, I'm right here. You don't have to hold me in your lungs anymore, you know? Like we're good. And I want you to be happy. And I want you to feel the love that the earth has for you. I want you to be able to feel that. And so it just feels like you maybe even having a conversation with your lungs about what you're ready for. You know, I'm ready to take in a little more air today. Let's work together to get some more breath, you know, because if you're anything like me, sometimes you'll find yourself like, I haven't breathed in like 5 minutes, you know? So it just feels really important to start that dialogue with your body, to start that dialogue with your heart. And I know you've done a lot of work in moving through, but it just feels like this is a physiological response that it might be conditioning. It might have come down, like in my family, somebody dies, we dress in black for the rest of our lives, right? Like that's how our culture was. So just kind of paying attention to what's there. Am I holding? Am I willing to release? Am I willing to expand? Those are the questions I would ask myself. And then I would take some deep breaths. Does that feel resonant, Patsy?
Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
Before, it's funny because for Patsy, for you and Christine, I'm getting the vision boarding. And I'm getting, as part of the vision boarding, perhaps visioning your connection to these etheric helpers. For Christine, the fairies, and invoking them in, and perhaps a new way of communicating or hearing in a way that maybe wasn't thought about. And for you, it's like, I don't connect to the angels necessarily, but that's all there for you in the wisdom. And even kind of starting with the who might be available from whatever realm as part of the vision board, with starting a new realm of communication, and with your body as well, could open up avenues. That's just something I'm picking up as something that might be fun and playful, and invoke a relationship that's ready to awaken within you. So that's what I'm getting on it. Yeah. Thank you so much for calling. Okay, let's go to another caller. I love how many we're going through today. Purification Rodriguez, welcome. And can I get you to unmute?
Yes, there she goes.
Thank you. I'm so glad to speak to all.
Yes. What is your first name, by the way? Is it Purification?
Purificación.
Purificación. Oh, I love it. Purificación. Welcome.
Yeah, that's an old name.
How beautiful.
So old like me.
What is your question for Teresa?
I want to ask you, I work in the restaurant, in a big restaurant. There are so much energies because that's a stadion, a football stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And I have to travel that all moves because I'm different. I'm always under attack and hard. I must make always attention to don't come out of me. And I feel that's something around me that don't let me.
You are.
And I want to see, I want to try, but I can only feel.
Let's see what Teresa brings in for you, Purificación.
So there's a couple of things. You are a really old soul, which is beautiful.
Yeah, I know. I was an angel in Atlantis.
Soul.
I'm Arcturian too.
So some of us see, some of us hear, some of us feel. You're a feeler. Lucky you, which is a beautiful thing. But when you're around so many people all the time, it can be very hard to open yourself because you're so used to having to kind of protect after a certain amount of time. It feels like you're good, and then you get tired and it gets harder. And so what I'm seeing for you is when you are about to leave your house, I see angel in front of you, angel on each side, angel behind you, right? You don't leave the house without your angels. They're all around you. And then you walk with your hands on your hips, your heart open, and you're like, ha, 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 do what you will. I have my angels around me, right? Because you need.
I'm happy to see, when you work with so many people, so aggressive, so with so much stuff, I can hate the people, but always to attack me and search to put me in a game.
Yeah, let's let Teresa.
I'm always happy to see the people that comes in the restaurant, And then when I see a smile, when I see a look, my heart opens. I don't can hold me back,
Yeah, let's let Teresa finish the transmission for you. And that's beautiful that you do that, Purificación. And again, I want to invite you to come and listen to the replay, because there's a transmission and a guidance that with practice, with what Teresa's sharing, I do believe is going to be a tremendous benefit. And it's just, again, the slowing down in the present moment. Again, when you're leaving the house, and again, Teresa, you hadn't finished with what was coming through. So let's let Teresa finish the transmission for you, and then come back and listen to the replay. Okay.
Thank you.
It's the two things are seeing your angels around you, not leaving without your angels. That's number one. And then making sure they're with you all the time. The second is changing the energy of the way you perceive yourself, because you've been in this situation for so long that you know what's going to happen when you go to work. When there's a game, you know the energy that's there. And so changing, this is not like, I am not the person that this is going to happen to. Like, I am, they don't even see me if this is what they want to do. Like, I'm invisible to them if they want to be obnoxious. So really,
Yeah, I have tried.
really embracing your relationship with your own higher self and the angels to start, if that feels resonant to you. But that's what they're showing me. They're showing me Michael, Ariel, Gabriel, Daniel.
Yeah. And Purifica, thank you for calling in. I'm going to mute you, and I'm going to share this also. You say that you know and that
Thank
you've
you.
tried it. Who you
I
are.
thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Who you are today is not the one who tried it yesterday. And the way that it's being invoked for you, if you go through this practice, I think this would be very beneficial. And I love how this ties into even preparing and anchoring the change, the part of the meditation package that's coming through the special offer. Again, the deep cellular healing with Archangel Ariel, the Archangel Raphael global healing, and then the empty bowl meditation, again, creating something different in the in-between breath and allowing that transmission to really imprint from a cellular knowing and the angelic connection that is available as our guides, as our witnesses, and as an anchoring in of a resonance that you choose to be in, rather than being submerged in subconsciously or through environmental influences that you now carry a different capacity to have relationship with. So again, I'm going to suggest that you come back, listen to the replay. We'll send the replay link a little bit later, y'all. And you can always access replays by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/replay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And blessings to all.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go into another caller. Y'all, since I mentioned the replay, the special offer with Teresa, $97, value of $997. Again, I just talked about the meditation package. The Healing into Your New You live series, again, starts August 2nd. 3-part audio series, live calls that you're going to go into. And again, relieving stress and anxiety, healing anger and judgment, and alleviating sadness and depression. And the irreversible healing that happens as a result of this. And it's all written in here. Part of the special offer. And again, I'm so excited also about the vision boarding workshop that you'll start to be able to participate in right away. This is a great package. Again, it's valued at over $997. It's offered here as a special offer for only $97, 2-payment option, and a 30-day money back guarantee. Y'all take advantage of that. The link is in the chat box. April's probably typed it in there again. And I wanted to take care of that before we went into our next live caller. And Mary, let's go to you if I can get you to unmute. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. I'm having I've always been very enthusiastic in my life and been able to have lots of energy. And recently I've had some physical problems that it just feels like I spend more time in some ways meditating and being. And then when I go into some public situation, I feel that sometimes people are talking with their words, but how I interpret it is very different. And I don't know if that's because I'm getting what they're feeling, or or if it's part of me that sort of, I doubt myself.
Mm.
Which is the truth? Is it the truth what I'm hearing through their words, or is the truth that it's what I'm feeling in my heart?
I love this question, and you know the answer to this.
I love that.
You know the answer. So is the truth what you're hearing, or is it what you're feeling?
I think it's what I'm feeling. But then when I try to share it, the question comes back to me, why are you saying that?
Yeah, that's the hard part. That's the part where we're different, you know. It's, if I'm saying words to you, they're the words I want you to hear. But if you are feeling what's truly under those words, that's what I'm trying to hide. Like, I don't want you to know that. And so when you bring that back to me, I'm like, whoa, no, absolutely not. Right. That's my defense mechanisms are up. And so this is what we're doing now as the light workers, as the love warriors in this world, is we're not listening with our ears only anymore. We're really listening with our hearts, because anytime someone is speaking, there's something underneath that. So what's true, and where does the healing need to happen? Where am I connecting to this person from? And there's all different kinds of communication, but we're in a heart-centered paradigm. So heart to heart is the communication that we're focused on. And so we're bypassing the words now. I mean, they may still be important, you know, words are important, but always trust that heart connection. And it may not be a safe place for you to share what you're interpreting. So really gauge the situation before you share that, you know. And sometimes if you're not sharing it, then what if you just responded not to the words, but to the energy in the heart instead? You know, instead of saying, oh, I see this, or I feel this. Like, what if someone's coming at you with anger and fear, and you can see that with compassion, and they're yelling because it's an outrage, you know, but you're like, oh, are you having a bad day? You know what I mean? It just takes the wind out of the sails of what was going on, and someone feels seen and understood, you know, but maybe you don't want to do that in front of a crowd. So it's just really about gauging your response and gauging, is this the time or the place? And, you know, and just being in that place, but always trust your heart. Always trust your heart over everything else, especially now. Trust nothing you're hearing and nothing you're reading unless you run it through your heart.
Mary, how does that feel to be invited to trust your heart?
I feel like crying. It
Uh,
feels sweet. Thank you.
does it feel vulnerable, Alta?
Very.
There you go. Hmm.
I'm used to being strong, so it's vulnerable part of me. I know it's a strength, but I feel it as a weakness.
Teresa can add to that for sure. Yeah.
I can relate to that, you know, and
Yeah.
it can feel like a weakness because it can be isolating, you know, and it can make us feel different. But when we start to see it as a strength, right? So now it's no longer, I'm seeing what's in your heart and it's going to make you think I'm crazy. It's, I'm seeing what's in your heart and I'm going to respond to you from that place. And in doing so, I'm going to make a difference. You know, it's like, now this is my superpower. This is my ability to help the world heal. This is my ability to see you in truth, you know, and that is the superpower. It's just shifting how you see it in your own perspective first.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mary, come back and listen to the replay, definitely, and allow yourself to feel your truth. So beautiful. Oh my goodness, you guys are amazing. Teresa, we've had such variety of questions and they're all landing, I think, in very similar places for me. How will these life courses and these meditations and the creativity that you're providing in the special offer, again, it all seems like they're different questions, but it all seems like it's all part of the same essence. How do you see this helping or being of assistance to anyone who participates?
I always love how things start to overlap. Like we had two people with very similar jobs, you know, it was like just amazing. But what I love about this particular package is it opens us to who we are now. It opens us to more of the truth of who we are, like Mary was just testifying about, you know, it opens us to that. It also helps us to rebalance our physiological systems, our mental systems, our emotional systems, and any of the healing modalities we're currently doing, including any medical treatment. This is actually designed to work with that, to like bring that to the next level, you know, and so really it's about the embodiment of who you truly are and how you can shine your light even brighter in this world. That's everything in this package is in service to that. And, you know, it's really the visual of Archangel Michael asking you to just put your sword down into the ground and stand. That's what this will do. It will give you the power to do that. And sometimes we need to remember, we need to have joy in order to be able to stand in our strength. We need to have creativity. We need to have fun.
Oh my God. Well, this has been so fun with you today and expansive, and to feel into your grounded energy and what's available from that as well. It's such a gift. So as always, it's just, I love being in your presence and playing with you. And so thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
Spreading your love. Yeah, it's amazing. Everybody, the replay link, again, we'll send it out in the replay link later in an email, beyondtheordinaryshow.com/replay. You can access it. The special offer link is in the chat box. Click on it before we hang up, or just go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Teresa28, and it'll take you to the special offer page as well. So you know where to find that. And it's with you guys that I'm so glad that I dedicated this show to each and every one of you individually. I love you. I see you. I bow to you and namaste. And I look forward to seeing you on the next call. Y'all have a great day.